refute, and I agree. I don't refute your point, and I agree that there needs to be greater security. My issue is this, that we're securing a home in which we live in, but we're not allowed to participate in as an equal citizen. Just like veterans, let me make another point.
All right.
Veterans who went and fought, okay, they came back here only to find that now they become a second-class citizen.
The black veterans.
Exactly right, the black veterans, the African-American veterans, they went and fought on foreign soil for not only rights for other individuals, but to secure American rights, but yet when you come back here, the very rights that they died for, in greater number than the non-whites, they ended up not being able to take advantage of. I'm not watering down any of the other issues. I'm just saying that as African Americans, we must concentrate primarily on the rights that we have and the rights that we are denied here in America before we look at dealing with issues outside of the perimeter of the African American community. Because if we do, that's less time, less effort that can be placed on getting us judicial freedom, getting us the right to have the contracts by the same proportion. If we're concentrating on something other than that, no matter how noble the cause, we're not doing ourselves any justice.
Well, there are many, there are more on our food stamp programs now in the last than it was 5-6 years ago. There are more. All right, these
but
kids.
That's a small portion of the total budget. In terms
I
of
understand
welfare.
that. I understand that.
Homestead exemptions, which we have fewer homes, comprise a much larger portion of that budget than food stamps.
Those people that are coming across that border, they're going to go on welfare. Now this is, I have not.
Well, they give them jobs. They give them jobs that we don't have. Why? Because they're willing to pay them less.
Well, something I'm going to tell you that's going to shock you, okay? I have to confirm this, so I want to make that clear first. I heard on the radio yesterday that they're being paid $6,000. If you want to take one of those children and live in your house, they'll pay you $6,000 per child. The government. $6,000.
Careful what you hear.
I know. I said that, hopefully in the next computer video I can, but $6,000, but where is the money coming from to take care of those kids? We are $17.5 trillion in debt. Our economy, the black unemployment rate is high. Okay?
It's always been
but wait a minute.
disproportionately high. So an influx of people, or the lack of the influx, is not going to make our unemployment rate increase, because it didn't make it decrease. So that has nothing to do with us getting equality and freedom judicially in the United States.
So wait a minute now. I'm a simple man, okay? You mean to tell me if we got 10 million unemployed African Americans, okay, that's on the roll, 10 million unemployed African Americans, and then you bring in 5 million brown, Latin people coming from South America, okay, will that affect the job possibilities for those African Americans?
Absolutely not.
Let
me tell you why.
Explain that to me, please.
Because the hiring of the individual does not depend on whether or not someone other than African American comes over, but the hiring depends upon whether or not the person who has the authority to do the hiring will hire that African American. And then we know in most cases they don't.
Well, I mean, it increases.
They would rather let the job sit.
So it doesn't increase the competition.
No.
So you go from 5 million, rather 10 million, to 15 million, and that's 15 million people competing for those jobs.
But they're not all competing for the same job.
I know they're not. I'm just saying. I know they're not competing for the same job.
Okay.
I'm just saying there's more competition for limited resources. Because guess what? The labor participation rate is the lowest it's been in nearly 40 years.
Okay.
Now, we are just now increasing those people who are not working. The labor participation rate actually is going to go. You bring those in, that labor participation rate actually is going to worsen.
They've been laying us off and not hiring us long before a year and a half ago when the influx started.
Now maybe we need to have that on another video.
Okay.
But I understand about racism, and which we need to talk about that again.
And until we effectively deal with racism in the African American community, there should be absolutely very little effort devoted to, outside of the community, somebody else's issue.
Well, you have countries that are receiving money from us that are sending their children here.
Sure.
That's a problem.
We give hundreds of millions of dollars to Mexico for judicial reform. Now, the judicial reform they're talking about,
We give more money than that to Mexico.
yeah, but look at the fact that the judicial reform that they're talking about, that they're paying hundreds of millions of dollars for, a lot of it which are going to non-African American employees from the United States to administer the program. And then up against that, we have judicial corruption in this country, unprecedented when it comes to giving equality, due process, and equal protection to African Americans in the court system right here.
John, I have no doubt. I absolutely agree with you about that. But the issue on that border, is not going to make it any better for African Americans. No better. You can't explain. You can't tell our audience that how that increasing the illegals into this country is going to make it any better.
Is it going to make it any worse?
Yes, it is.
In fact, it may make it better.
No, how is it going to make it better?
The African Americans.
That was a long pause.
Because I want to be clear that the African Americans and the Latinos now, as a result of the influx in the next 2 years, will outnumber the non-African American Latinos. There'll be a greater amount of them than whites. What that means is now, if they band together, they become the majority. Not only from a political standpoint, from a standpoint of we can now have our own capitalist society within that group. When it comes to the majority looking out for the average worker, the lower income worker, we are now in a better position with more people if we can band together. Because now we become the majority.
As you know, I'm part Latin.
Yeah.
And I'm going to tell you right now, I visited all the Latin countries in Central America.
Okay.
Been to Colombia. You know I love Dominicans.
Okay.
You know, and I'm telling you, I don't want that government here in the United States.
No, I'm not saying the
Wait a
government.
minute.
I'm
When
just
you
saying
have
that the
it-
majority now.
Yeah, when you have that influx of Latin people in there, I guarantee you're going to get that kind of government. I guarantee you're going to get that kind of government.
No, because
Hey, I'm not racist. Because I
I'm just
love
saying that-
Latin people. My mom's Latin. I'm just saying
I'm just
you're going to
saying
get that
that
kind of
the
government.
rules, the governing rules for the society are different here. A majority rule in most cases here governs. And when there's that influx, with us being a very small percentage, of course you don't get a majority. Why? Because normally they have a token black. But with an influx, now you becoming the majority, what happens is you now are in a position that you have a greater voice.
John,
If you can,
Brother John.
if you can collaborate.
Brother John.
So the possibilities and potentials are better with them than without them.
You and I agree that we have a jacked
You just
up.
asked me to explain.
You have and I have agreed that there's a jacked up justice system that we have.
Oh,
But
yeah.
you ain't
Oh,
seen
yeah.
nothing yet when you into the a Latin justice system. That is that's a hybrid, man.
But,
Look
we,
here, man.
but listen,
You don't want
know,
that.
We know the one we have has
I
not
would rather
worked
look here.
since 1776.
I would rather have the one I got right now than to have that justice system in any Latin American country.
What if you're on the right side?
Any Latin American country,
Okay.
I would rather have our justice system than theirs. Any one of them.
Even if you control
Pick one.
even if you